Growing up, people kept asking, what do you want to do? They never considered that you might not have anything specific you want to do at that age, or that you hadn't even thought that far into the future. How could you? You're only 15 or 16. How were you supposed to find your life's calling when you hadn't even finished the tutorial arc of life? In this video, I'll take you through my journey to becoming a full-time content creator, including the detours and dead ends I encountered along the way. I'll share what it took for me to find my path, how long my journey lasted, why I ultimately chose content creation. By the end of this video, you'll gain insights into what it takes to discover your own purpose. In 2012, I was in high school. Yes, I'm pretty old. I remember my grandmother visiting and asking, hey, what do you want to do when you're older? Being Asian, my parents always advocated for the DLE trifecta: doctor, lawyer, engineer. Up until then, my childhood dream had always to become a game designer. But for some reason, this time I blurted out pharmacist. I heard they made great money, were respected, in demand, and it seemed stable. I chose pharmacist over doctor because I assumed it would be easier, yet still close enough to being a doctor. I thought, why not? We'll just pick this one. Soon after, I discovered there was a pharmaceutical track at school. This program would give students a head start on learning about various medical drugs. I thought if I could get into that class, I'd be one step closer to becoming a pharmacist. After learning the requirements, I went to the counselor to enroll in the necessary classes. Even though the school year had already started, to my surprise, the counselor wouldn't allow me to switch classes for reasons I still don't understand. And this setback cost me a year. Additionally, I learned there were 2 prerequisite classes I needed to take before I could roll in the pharmaceutical course. If I wanted to pursue pharmacy, I'd have to wait until college. Being the impatient teenager I was, I couldn't fathom waiting 3 to 4 years just to get a taste of the profession. So just like that, I crossed pharmacy off my list of potential careers. By the way, real quick, if you're interested in becoming a full-time content creator, check out my Discord below. Fast forward to 2015. I graduated high school and was entering my first year of college. I didn't come from a wealthy background. My parents were Vietnamese immigrants who came to America because my grandfather served in the Southern Army during the Vietnam War. In a way, I felt self-conscious about attending university. Not only was I unsure about my career path, but the cost was astronomical. So I opted for community college instead. Thanks to financial aid, a government program for low-income families, my entire tuition was covered during community college. Remember that DLE acronym? Well, lawyer was out. I was way too shy to argue effectively, but I excelled at math. So I thought, why not become an engineer? And not just any engineer, a mechanical engineer. While wrestling with my career choices, I stumbled upon a new hobby, creating Minecraft videos on YouTube. This became my introduction to video editing, and as you might guess, I had zero creative experience before this. I made 4 to 5 videos hoping they take off so I could ditch the whole engineer thing, but it wasn't meant to be. To save money and earn transferable credit for university, I had to tackle Physics 1, Calculus 2, and an additional mechanical engineering class, which required Physics 1. I started with Cal 1, which was surprisingly easy. 8 months of work crammed into 8 weeks. Then came Cal 2, which was significantly more challenging. For the first time in my academic career, I received a C in math instead of my usual high B's or A. I actually had to set aside time to study, a foreign concept to me at that age. I mean, my study sessions would be 1.5 hour max, 2 pushing it. But with some struggles and study group sessions, I managed to pull through. And then there was Physics 1, my first real obstacle on the path to becoming a mechanical engineer. 4 weeks into the class, I took my first exam. When the professor returned our grades, I glanced at mine, stuffed it into a backpack, walked out, and immediately scheduled an appointment with my counselor. Yes, I dropped the class. I did not learn a single thing from that Physics 1 class, and just like that, my dream of becoming a mechanical engineer just abrupt end. 1 semester after my mechanical engineering dreams fizzled out, I decided to pursue a career closer to my childhood passion. Instead of game design, I chose its sibling, computer science. And this wasn't out of nowhere. Back in high school, I'd taken a game design class where we learned Java. And so Java was typically used for creating games. We even created a little game, kind of like Pac-Man style 3D, where you collect circle balls, you get points as you go. But the class was tiny, 3 classes crammed into 1 room. First level had about 14 students. I made it to the second level, which started with 5 students, but soon dwindled to another guy and me after 3 dropped out. So now it was just 2. And the third level, well, 2 students. With little guidance from a teacher, I struggled to grasp new coding concepts. Without explanations, nothing made sense. I mean, imagine a high schooler trying to learn a new concept by themselves. It was really difficult. Well, years later, I decided to give it another shot. This time, armed with more math experience, I took an intro to C++ class. Everything clicked much better. The projects were straightforward and all the pieces seemed to fall into place. I think this is gonna be my career. After completing my remaining credits at community college, I transferred to university in fall of 2018. However, that semester turned out to be both my first and last as a computer science major there. I completely bombed my final exam. It was really something. If you want to know what happened in full detail, check out the video in the corner. That corner. This time, I didn't just drop a class. I dropped out of school entirely. I kept the secret from my parents for about 2 to 3 years. Whenever they asked about my graduation date, I'd always reply, oh, in about 2 years. That's when I'll graduate. Since high school, my parents hadn't been involved in my education, and the complexity of the college system made it even easier to mislead them. After leaving university, I decided to take a gap semester where I traveled to Japan for the very first time. An eye-opening experience that expanded my horizons. By my side was a $100 knockoff GoPro I invested in solely for this trip. Finally, taking my life more seriously. I felt as if I had noticeably grown in the week I spent in Tokyo. In 2019, after reconsidering my options, I decided to return to the same community college I had attended before. I'm not sure why, but I'd enrolled in a marketing class there. Surprisingly, all the information I was learning began connecting with my experience in Japan. It was mind-boggling to see how these experiences overlapped. I took this as a sign of majoring in marketing. Following my trip to Japan, I transitioned to vlogging, which I continued until completing my marketing degree. Content creation was initially just a side hobby. I never would have imagined it would lead anywhere significant. Little did I know that my evolving skills in video editing, videography, and marketing would pave the way for full-time content creator roles after graduation. In 2022, I graduated from university with a marketing degree. It took me about 10 years to find my path, my purpose. So don't panic if you're unsure about your direction right now. Your journey might be longer or shorter than mine in finding what you need to do. Whatever you're doing at the moment, give it your all. You never know how a skill might prove useful or open up unexpected opportunities.